Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of All Knicked Up. We are back. Don't let the stories of our demise uh, get it twisted. We are still here. We are back. Sometimes life gets in the way, but playoffs are coming. So, we had to at least get on here, discuss the playoffs, discuss what's going to be going on in the next month and a half or so, 2 months. With our New York Knicks. We'll discuss where they are now, obviously, in the moment, and what we think their prospects are going forward. So, as you know, I cannot do this by myself. So, let me bring in Ty, as Joe is on vacation, actually. So, Ty, what's up, man?
What's going on, E? How's it going?
It's going okay. Going okay. It's been a minute,
Yeah,
right?
a little minute. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
getting
it's
back
been
to
a
the swing
minute.
of things. It's right about the right time.
Right. So, yes, as we know, there are 3 games left in the regular season.
Mhm.
Um, so playoff positioning right now seems to be what's going on. Um, High level view, I'd be very surprised if the Knicks are anything but the 3 seed, but there's still an outside shot that they could get the 2 seed. Now it would take Boston losing and the Knicks winning their last 3 games, and obviously the Knicks play the Celtics tomorrow, so that would be yeah, that's obviously a must win if they want to play second. But we'll get into that, and we'll get into if it's beneficial for them to get 2, or better for them to stay at 3, or all of those machinations, that all those things that could possibly happen. Um, but this team is in an interesting place right now. Um, I wanted to start somewhere about the rotations because they've been a little weird in my opinion lately. Guys we thought had spots are maybe don't have spots. Um, Trying to work in. Obviously, they're trying to work McBride back in, get him up and running before the playoffs. But it is weird that with 3 games left in the season, the Knicks don't seem to have a set rotation outside of their starting five. I feel like their starting five is set. Other than that, um, it's a weird mix to me. So I wanted to start there. What's your take on all the weird, like that Brown is still tinkering at this point of the season?
Well, it is. It is absolutely strange. I mean, we saw Alvarado come in, and we thought that was just going to be, the end of, that was going to be the answer. That's going to be the permanent backup for Brunson. We all kind of thought, well, poor Tyler. We're singing his little songs, buying his jersey. It's poor Tyler Kolek, and the next thing we know, we find Grand Theft Auto's been thieved. He's actually sitting on the bench. He's ran, in the words of Cloud, he's ran amok, I guess, in the lineup. And now all of a sudden we see him being benched. We see McBride being thrusted back after the injury. And we've seen more pretty much of the combination of McBride, Shamit, and surprisingly enough, the guy who was left for dead, he was duck hunting. The little dog was snickering. He got shot out the sky. The shotgun came out back. Ah! It was like, there's no more Clarkson. And all of a sudden now, who is the savior of the Knicks?
I know.
Who's the blessed coming from the Philippines? But our man Jordan Clarkson, who I must say has been balling. He's been playing really good. But from what we're seeing, Mike Brown has done what he said. He's willing to tinker with the lineup. We've heard this coming in about him. He's not afraid to go 10, 11 deep. Well, he's about damn well proved it because the only person he didn't play was probably Rick Brunson because he's played everybody else. Maybe Rick's going to start. I don't know. He might have a shot. I don't know because what we're seeing now is Mike Brown willing to, outside of Jalen Brunson, he's willing to roll the dice and bench and pull anyone and say, hey, if you're not working or whatever my emotions are, I'm going to go with that and the feel for the game. And we don't know. Maybe this is on purpose. Maybe him not having a set lineup just kind of keeps people a little bit off kilter. Like we don't know what to expect. I'm not sure other teams don't know what he's going to roll out because we've seen the last 2 games, something that we as fans and on this podcast and what we talked about in the back channels all the time. It's like, damn, can the Knicks run a pick and roll? Well, what we got? We got it for 2 games to pick and roll. Something that we have not seen. We've seen since Patrick Ewing and Mark Jackson. We didn't see no damn 2-man game going on. Now all of a sudden Brown is like, oh, hold on. Let me go in my bag. He went in his bag and he pulled this out. And I'm thankful he pulled out the pick and roll because we got to keep it lined up. He didn't pull it out. He pulled out the pick and roll. And from doing so, hey, I don't want to give Mike Brown no scandal. We got no scandal in New York. Needless to say, we see that aspect of the game. So, man, I don't know. I mean, we can pencil in Brunson. We know that. We can pencil in seemingly OG Anunoby. We've seen him bench Bridges. We've seen him bench Karl Anthony Towns. Mike Brown, I mean, they're winning. So, I mean, you can't argue about it. But a set lineup, I think this guy is kind of, I don't want to say he's winging it, but I think he's winging it according to whatever the game presents itself. Whoa, hey, we going Tom here? We going Tom? Do whatever the game shows you? Maybe Mike Brown was listening and said, we're going to do what the game shows us, and whoever has a hot hand is what we're going to go with. So, maybe Brown's new.
The coach should do that. Yes, the coach is the one who should. If a guy has a hot hand, you stick with him until he goes cold, right? That's what a coach should do.
Yeah.
The players, the system of the game tells you what to do is not a good system for players because they should be reacting and have some kind of a plan in front of them when they play. So not to take shots at our friend Tom Thibodeau, but it has been interesting to watch these last few games with, like I said, with these rotations kind of being up in the air. And I feel, and it's weird because it's not just one guy, right? Like we did see Kolek for a little bit, and you see, he's sprinkling these guys in, and I think it's good from a standpoint of, everyone should be ready in the playoffs. You never know what's going to happen. So, it's good to have all these guys at least available and understanding their role and where they're, what they're going to do and what they're needed to do. But it goes against almost everything we've ever heard about what you're doing, what you should be doing this time of year.
Yeah.
So it's just a very, very interesting way to go about it. I don't know. And I often wonder what input the front office has with Brown. I often wonder what they're telling him with regards to the rotation and the bench. But I mean, outside of obviously the starting 5, they're going to play. Mitch is going to play. When McBride's healthy, he's going to play. But other than that, I think it's anyone else is available, and they might play, they might not play. Clarkson seems to have worked his way back in, but who knows? We thought, like you said, Alvarado was going to be the primary backup point guard, and he's not playing. He hasn't played. I know it's very, very.
No way, Jose. Who knows?
Yeah. It's been a weird kind of just thing to watch. And I'm interested now. Part of me is afraid with this kind of a setup because if the coach still doesn't know who he can trust in spots, that doesn't bode well for the playoffs, in my opinion.
I think we are getting into a territory. And I've been thinking about this. You brought it up about the rotation. And it's interesting because I was thinking along the lines. It's like, are we seeing maybe a coach go against the grain of the normal way of coaching in the playoffs, where we've all talked about, usually, I mean, this is definitely different Tom Thibodeau, who went maybe 7 deep for the whole entire season, and definitely into the playoffs till he burned all the rubber off the Firestones. That's what we end up seeing happening most of the time that he coached. Is it unthinkable? Could Mike Brown be one of maybe I don't know, I'm going to say maybe Popovich went a little deep in his bench during his championship runs, maybe because he's from the Tree of Pop. So I don't know. Have we seen ever a coach go past the 8 guy? I mean, maybe Popovich had depth on that Spurs team, but never this is what it's about, tightening up the ship. That's when you're going into the playoffs. The rotations become shorter. But for some reason, I am not sensing this guy is going that route. I think he's going to go a little bit deeper. Maybe he goes 9. He could go 9. He could go 10. The talent's there to go probably 9. But do you go 9? I mean, is this like a unwritten rule that you got to play 8 guys or you can go 9? Because I'm thinking from what we're seeing, I don't think he's just playing these guys just to play them, because we're seeing solid minutes from all of the guys, and down the stretch, the only people we're not seeing is Diawara a lot, which I was thinking he could be someone they could utilize in the playoffs, maybe as that 9th guy. Maybe he's going deeper than we think. I don't know. This would be an unprecedented thing from a coach at this point in time to go 9 deep or 10 deep in the playoff.
It would. Yeah, again, it doesn't make me feel the greatest about where we're at. I do understand, like I said, I've always been a proponent of him going deeper into the bench and obviously playing the younger guys. So yeah. I do think that for them to advance, especially against the teams they might have to play early on, they're going to need some of their younger legs, I believe, to be in these games.
I agree.
So unless they play like Philly or something like that, which I don't really think they would need. But if they're playing, say, a Toronto, definitely the Atlanta team, we saw them play last game. That team is, fast, young. Those types of teams, I feel like you need to have the younger guys come in and be available to play. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Let's get into the playoff seeding. So as I mentioned when I started the show, I said the Knicks more than likely are probably locked into the 3 seed. There is an outside shot they can get up to number 2. I believe they would have to win out and the Celtics would have to lose out, I believe, if that's how it were to happen. So I'm not betting on that to happen. But before we get to actually the playoff seeding, how important do you think tomorrow night's game is from a confidence standpoint with the team going forward into the playoffs?
See, with the Knicks, it's always weird with them. We've seen the weird thing all year with them. I was about optics. I said, sometimes you got to get past the narrative of the Knicks because you would think that they're losing a lot of games in which they're not. They've actually been a very successful team. I think out of the top teams against 500, over 500% are playoff teams. The Knicks have like the 5th best record, I think, amongst those teams. That means OKC. That means, Boston. That means all those teams that are in the top, Detroit. The Knicks are 5th. So the Knicks have beaten their share of ass this year. We don't think it, but they have.
They have.
But then there's those games, like we look at them and we're like, are you really bought into playing every game the same way? Like, I would think you're coming in, Boston's rolling out their dogs probably. They're going to probably come out to try to prove something to put the Knicks in their place. They have vengeance on their mind clearly from last year. We heard Jaylen Brown talk about it. He's always huffing no matter which way it is. But we hear them say that they have revenge on their mind. The question is, do the Knicks have revenge on their mind? Do the Knicks feel like they need to slap Boston back in their place and say, no, it wasn't an accident? We beat you guys literally and figuratively, fair and square, which they do. I don't do the Tatum injury thing. They were out of that game when he got injured.
The game was over.
It was a foregone conclusion. The Knicks were winning that series. That's just bottom line with it. Boston lacks a lot of the players that I thought gave the Knicks problems. KP Porzingis was one of those guys. He was always launching from 3, and drawing the big man out. He torched us. That was one of the big things, those acquisitions from the Knicks. For the Boston, they gave us problem. And Drew Holiday, clearly, all those guys, and Al Horford. Those guys are gone. So it's like, do the Knicks feel like they have something to prove against a regular season game against Boston? What they did? I think they're 2-1. I think the Knicks. I think they have the edge over that series. So going in this, if the Knicks are not trying to get the 2nd seed, I can see the Knicks coming out tomorrow and looking like it's a practice, because this is what we've seen from them.
That's fair. Yeah,
we've seen them come out and go, that really doesn't mean much to me. which I think for Knicks fans, obviously it drives us a little bit nuts, because we just don't really know what team we're getting. We're starting to see a little bit of the team start to round out and look like the guys are like, okay, the playoffs is coming. Let me ramp it up a little bit. I mean, if I had a bet, and I don't bet, I think Boston beats us tomorrow because I don't think the Knicks are coming out with the same need that Boston has because the Knicks are very flaky. They've been very flaky all season when it comes to certain competition in certain nights where you think that as fans, we're like, oh, we got to be amped up for this game. I know they must be amped up. And they come out a little nonchalant, like it doesn't matter to them. So, Boston, I think, is going to come out and prove a point. I don't know if the Knicks feel like they need to prove a point. So, Knicks fans, buckle up because if you want to have that traditional rivalry, I don't know if your team is going to come out, or our team should say, come out with that kind of fire as you think, because they've proven that they can be very wishy-washy in games that fans find important that they damn well just don't seem interested in playing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. The only reason I think it is important is because while the Knicks can still get second, they also could slip to fourth. Cleveland's only one game behind them. So, it's important for the Knicks to take these next 3 games seriously if they want to maintain that third position. But again, if you're not in 1 or 2, second round, the conference finals anyway, you're going to be on the road, right? If those 2 teams win, right, you're going to be on the road. So, to start the series anyway. So they need to be careful and not do what you just said that they might do. Unless they really don't care, unless they really are like, yeah, it doesn't matter, third or fourth, we'll take which one we have. And fourth, it looks like right now it looks like they're playing the Hawks or the Raptors, in my opinion, whichever way it pans out. There's still a chance, like I said, Philly could bump up, even Orlando, even Charlotte, which I do not want to play Charlotte at all.
Nobody should.
Because the reason I don't want to play Charlotte is because of this. All right.
Yeah,
so
that's something
this
else.
is going back again. We've talked about this in the past, and I still can't believe it's something we're talking about now because this has literally been a problem for the Knicks since the Ewing years. Those teams could not defend the 3-point shot either. And we still, to this day, have a problem defending three-point shot. These teams, they have like record-setting days against us from downtown. Yeah. And I don't understand why it's so hard for every coach we get to get this team to play better 3-point defense. And we can talk about, well, should you switch? Should you not switch? Should you go over the screen? Should you go under the screen? Like, we can talk about all of that. But I've always said this, and you might not agree, but I've always said defense to me is about how much you want to stop the other guy. It's a lot about desire, right?
Absolutely.
So from my perspective is I don't care what your scheme is. Just do it at the best you can. Like, make that your thing on defense, especially against 3-point shooters, because, yeah, for whatever reason, every single regime we've had, this has been an issue. And I can't explain it. Do you agree with me? Like, am I crazy saying this?
No, you're not crazy at all. But I'm going to tell you what makes me even more crazy when you talk about this 3-point thing. What drives me absolutely freaking insane is not just so much as that they're hitting 3-point shots. It's because they're hitting them in the same damn spot. I can tell you exactly where that spot is because every damn game I'm watching, I'm like, he's right there. The shot C.J. McCollum, if people want to take notes, the shot C.J. McCollum, either you go 2 steps to the left or 2 steps to the right, that area, teams shoot and kill the Knicks right in that section. It's if you don't believe it, keep watching because you're going to sit there and go, oh, damn, that dude was right.
Yeah.
It occurs, and you're like, oh, Champagnie was a perfect example. Same spot. Same. You want to know how he got lit that night? The same damn spot. They just don't guard it. And if I know that, then damn well the rest of the league, of the 20-something teams know that I'm not lying because you can watch that one spot. They get torched. And I never understand. We know with Thibodeau, we talked about the over hedging into the lane. That was a huge issue. It's
Right.
like, why are you protecting the paint for? Nobody really does that anymore. Nobody scores in the paint. But even now, when you watch, case in point, when I'm going to pick on Bridges a little bit here, it's Clyde eloquently says, "What is he doing?" You know, it was the same thing. It's an inbounds play with seconds on the clock. You're up by what? It was 5 at that point or whatever.
Yep.
And why are you doubling? Why are you doubling?
I know.
Bounce pass on a guy, he's still in 2-point range. No matter what he does off that action, if he wants to get a 3, he's now going to have to pass either the ball or find a step back or over dribble to get back behind the line. So you're really saying I'm committing to you possibly shooting a 2. Why are you doubling on an inbounds instead of find your man? Run them off the 3-point line. You've got one damn job to do when a 3-point shot is getting launched up, is to at least press or run them off the line. And to know that the Knicks never adjust just to stop that. Now, they play defense pretty decent. I mean, granted, teams are not lighting them up, but it's teams that can shoot that ball that make games a lot closer or a lot more in jeopardy than they should be, because the Knicks cannot adjust. I mean, the 3-point shot in the corner is the shortest 3-point shot. You would think, being that OG shoots that, most of the Knicks shoot that, that's a shot that most teams wanted. Why would you not think the other team wants to take that damn 3-point shot? And you watch it unfold. Alexander, what he did the other night, Nickeil Alexander, he was lighting them up. I mean, granted, he hit some difficult shots. He had a great game. But we saw it unfolding. You lean off of the 3-point in the corner, he's going to kill you. So I don't know. I don't think you're exaggerating at all. You might need to exaggerate more, because it's a killer shot that we all know we should be afraid of when we see teams launch that many. I mean, law of averages say probably you're not going to hit a bunch of them, but for some reason they hit a bunch against it. So I don't know what the philosophy is, but you got 2 premier defenders on the perimeter. I mean, to me, I just think you stay home and you stay as home as you can with those players, because the switching thing, I think, is just so weird. I don't know why people are switching. Just guard your damn man. Guard your man, and then make him or her, I mean, whoever, make them move off the damn line. Do what you need to do. I mean, I just don't understand how you just know that in a 3-point launching league, you're just going to concede that they're just going to get the shot off. Yeah, but shouldn't you adjust the defense now, knowing the league is this way, to design to run people off the line? Like, it's like, what are we doing? I mean, it's almost like they like conceding to make the game entertaining, because it doesn't make sense from a defense philosophy that you are allowing that shot to get off more than it should.
Right. And it's weird, like this year, like we talked about last year, Thibodeau, like everyone would retreat to like guard the paint. Like that was his thing. I honestly don't know what Mike Brown's defensive scheme is. They weren't playing any for a stretch of the season, and then they started to play defense again. So I don't know exactly what changes were made. But it's just always been a thing with me. Like every season I watch the Knicks and I'm like, man, they just can't. I don't know. Is the Garden just a better place to shoot the ball? Like, is that what I'm supposed to believe? That it's just easier to shoot there? Like, I don't know what it is. It's so weird. It's such a weird
light. I don't know if the popcorn smells damn good to them in the Garden, but we can get like granted, respectfully, there's no bums in the NBA.
Right.
But NBA standard, there's some bums that come in that never play good anywhere else, but they come here, and it's like Lucky Charms is magically delicious, because they eat a box of Lucky Charms and they all of a sudden just start killing the Knicks.
Who was that guy last year? I think he was on Cleveland. He has like a weird. He has a. I don't want to say weird. He has like a Baltic last name, like it's one of those Baltic things, like Croatian last name or something like that. Something is Vili or something. Like they played him this year and he was fine, but last year he went off for like.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name. I know exactly who you're talking about, and that is the killer thing. It's like you get some unknown, some unidentified flying object comes in there, and all of a sudden they become famous that night, and they don't go any other place to play like that. But in the Garden, I mean, people say, I mean, you hear all the players say they love playing in Madison Square
That
Garden.
part we know is true. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen these spectacular moments. I mean, Reggie Miller's probably more famous for. You would think he's been winning in the Garden, and that's the thing. When they expose his record from playing here, but it's because of that magical moment with that little cricket Spike Lee that he became more famous than he should have been, because also giving up the 3-point shots. So it's always been, what Steph came here, and I mean, granted, Raven Felton got the last block on him, but also a guy who had the 3-point magic going. So I don't know, maybe it's the lure of being in New York. Maybe it is the staging, lighting, or the rims, or whatever. But there's something to it. It's just I wish they would figure it out so they could stop having these career nights in our home. It's crazy.
I know. Yeah. It's just something that, again, as we approach the end of another season, it's the one thing that always stands out. I'm like, another season and another year where the 3-point defense is bad. And there's no other way to say it. It's bad. So, and it's going to have to be better. I mean, especially going forward. Like I said, I'm nervous about where the team is going into the playoffs, because I still feel like there's a lot of things up in the air that we don't know. Now, the thing we know we can bank on is Brunson is a playoff performer. So he elevates his game in the playoffs. He plays better in the playoffs, and that's what great players do, and we have one of those guys. So that's one thing we can look to and say, okay, if the games are close, we know we have a shot to win because we have him. And like that, but that's the only thing. Like, there's still nothing with this team that I look at. Oh, the other thing would probably be Mitch is gonna most of the time play like play really hard, right? And hard. Those two guys are gonna give that maximum effort every time and play with that style. I think those are the things we can hang our hats on. I thought like OG, obviously great defensive player. This year I thought like he had turned the corner offensively, but then like his shot seems to have abandoned him recently. So I don't know now.
Yeah, look with me with OG.
Right. I don't know what to look forward to with him.
See, this
we don't need to.
This is my look with OG, because as much as he's like, you know how you are with Bridges, like the thing with Mikal Bridges, like Google. I love it's something about. I mean, I love that he is a great defender. He's like that thing that you like. Oh, we got one of those.
Right.
That's what OG is like. We got one of those. The one of those guys, and you romanticize about it. Then it's the whole thing, and I always call it the Denver syndrome. We get that one game from him every year in Denver. It's like, wow, we got Kawhi Leonard on our team. Like, oh,
yeah.
Him and Kawhi was hanging out in Toronto,
Yeah.
He got Kawhi. It was like, oh, damn, we could beat anybody's ass. Then it's the after Denver party that we see. And we're like, where you go?
I know.
Where the last 6 games? Where is this dude?
Yeah.
And if I've got a nervous energy about going into the playoffs, he makes me more nervous than Mikal. And the reason being is that I think if he comes every game or he shows up in any series, I think the Knicks are definitely winning those series. But it's like, but if it's predicated on a couple things, if it's predicated on his shooting and he doesn't shoot well, then I'm going to ask, what else will he provide? Because he doesn't have a great handle. If you find him on the floor sometimes and you just don't know. Like he had a clear dunk the other night. And I'm like, he's going to end up on the floor. I'm like, I don't understand how he ends up on the floor.
Yeah, was that the one he held onto the rim and then kind of fell down? And I was like,
I always tell, in the chat, we talk about it. It's like, damn, this dude looks like Sean Kemp. Like when you see him, how he's massively built, and you're like, oh, damn, this dude's going to gorilla the rim. This is what you think. It's like, this is going to be King Kong on top of Empire State Building, just holding the rim. And then he goes up, and he has the one up and under reverse dunk that seems to work. I'm like, all right, that's cool. And then it's those little dunks that are like powder puff dunks, and you find him, he's like, oh, I fell, like Ezel from Friday. Oh, I fall. And all of a sudden he's on the ground. It's like, dude, get up. What's wrong?
I
You
know.
need to be falling that, and you fall clumsily. So this is the thing. It's like if I'm an opponent, I'm thinking like as an opponent, I'm running him off the 3-point line. So I'm running you the hell off. I'm not letting you get an open shot. So I always say, what do you do? The key to basketball, a lot of things about basketball is what do you do when they take away what you're great at? So what is your counter? And if I'm guarding him, running him off that corner three and saying, you're putting it on the ground, buddy. Show me you've worked on your handle to get off that kind of shot. So that dynamic to me is why I worry more about OG than the rest of the Knicks, because his important role to us has been that third scorer. He's been the third option all year. He's produced in that third option position, but I don't think he's like a certified slasher. He can slash, but it's not like I feel comfortable that he's going to take someone off the dribble, end up at the rim, because they're going to take away a lot of that stuff in the playoffs. It's about the tough shot making is going to come from two guys on the Knicks. That's Brunson, we clearly know. And Towns is, whether they want to not believe it or not, is a tough shot shooter. They proved that in Detroit last year.
Yeah.
Those are your two dogs. So if one of them is not, the Ja Rule, 100 guns and 100 clips, if those dudes aren't firing, if those dudes can't fire, and we're saying now we're waiting for OG and Mikal. Those are the two guys you're waiting for. And that, to me, should scare anybody as a Knicks fan, because Mikal I trust more, because it's just, he's goofy as a pet coon during the season, but for some reason he can rise in these games in the playoffs. He seems to kind of wake up a little bit. But OG doesn't have a lot of the things in his bag that he's getting away with while the regular season's going on. So that is my face is about about OG being able to do more than what we've been seeing all season, because if not, he needs to be a defender. And he seems to defend according to his offense sometimes too. So he concerns me. You want to ask me what I get a little concerned about? It's OG Anunoby. Like, what is? I know the novelty of having a special type of defender is great for the Knicks, but we're talking playoffs. We're talking about winning the title, and you need a third consistent option. And I don't know if the Knicks.
No, like I agree with you.
You see that face? I'm like, do we got that dude, that third dude? And
looking at them play, right? Like you brought this up, looking at both their games, it should be Bridges.
Oh,
like Bridges,
yeah.
It should be Bridges. If you look at how both of them, their style, how they play, Bridges is a little bit more fluid, a little bit smoother with the basketball, a little bit better handle. Like it should be him. But for whatever reason, and I'm not going to take this as time to bash him, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't click with him that way. So whatever. I'm not expecting miracles when it comes to him. OG this season, all of you said is true, but he has improved. He's taking the ball to the basket more. He's getting to the free throw line more. From that perspective, if we can get that kind of performance from him in a couple games in the playoffs, or one of the two guys you mentioned is off or not their most efficient best, then I think that bodes well for the team. Obviously, McBride has to get back into shape because his offense is way too important to what the team does. We know Shamet can raise his level of play in the playoffs. We saw it last year. He was able to do that. Clarkson, I'm sure too, if he continues to play the way he's been playing and not the other version of him that we saw earlier in the season, I think we'll be okay with him as well. I'm not as concerned about the guard position. It's really, for me, it's just more of when it comes down to it, we're going to go where these two guys take us.
Oh, big time.
That's it. So I asked this question because this season's been rough. Let's be honest. It's been rough. The relationship, as soon as like a month ago we were hearing, oh, we still have to figure things out. We're still not understanding. Like that's scary when you hear about those type of conversations in March, right? When you're having these conversations about things, and we've talked about a myriad of reasons, what it could be, what it is, what maybe it is, what it's not. But I feel like from what I've been seeing from both recently, I feel better about these two than I have all season. So do you think they've turned the page in that sense that we've, like you said before, we've seen a little bit more pick and roll with those two? It's been working. What do you see with these two? Because like I said, wherever they go, we're going to go where they take us. So what do you see right now as we head into the playoffs with our two best players?
It's what I always call my before I turned 50, it was my 48th year, 48th year. And, I brought it up to the Dominican Jesus, and we'll go Brunson light skin Jesus. Tie for tie was a Coco Brown Jesus moment. I had those moments where I said, look, you have reached a certain point where you need to make decisions about you either doing it or you're not doing it.
Right.
Because after that, you need to shut the hell up because it's either now or never. Right. And I think for the Knicks and Karl Towns and Jalen Brunson, because I think there is a little bit of a resistance from both guys to acquiesce. I think we see them as talents. We know they're uber talented, definitely offensive players. I mean, the magic should work between the two. It's ideal in a pick and roll, which like I said, we've clamored for that for the longest time. It's like you have two of the most dangerous offensive threats, in my opinion, maybe in the entire NBA. And when I say that, because as much as you see SGA is a great offensive player or the best player on OKC, you see Kevin Durant, the best player on Houston. When you see even Boston, technically Tatum is the scoring savant on that team and Brown's the grunt work person, but not equal offensively. When you go to Detroit, it's Cade. When you go to Denver, it's Jokic, and you may get some Murray from time to time. When you're talking about two nuclear weapons, the Knicks got them. There's like no other team that has that level of both those guys. If they are on and erupt, you can get 35 to 40 points from either guy.
Yep.
And it may be in the clutch. So you now come down the stretch and you got the game on the line or you're weighing. It's like, which one of them would you guard in a pick and roll? You're assed out is what you are. So I don't know if these two decided to say, hey, you know what? This thing might work kind of good if we did it together. And decided that they wanted some freedom and they went north and said, well, maybe we go on the railroad together and free this thing that we got going on, because we saw it in Atlanta. They were dead in the water. Brunson was the dead man walking. And for Karl-Anthony Towns, he didn't get enough credit. You heard me celebrate him. I said in the chat, I'm like, Karl deserves a lot of credit, because as much as Jalen hit those shots, Jalen does not get open without those passes. And they were spot-on passes. They were passes that got Jalen in all of his sweet spots. And all of a sudden now the defense has to figure out, well, what the hell am I going to do? Jalen Brunson's lit right now. And God forbid he passes it to Karl-Anthony Towns, who has made his mark in that game and was shooting the ball well also. It's deadly. It's the deadliest combination. And I think at one point in the pick and roll, they were the most elite pick and roll tandem in the league at one point. So it would behoove those two dudes, I don't know, get your light skin excitement out the way or whatever your emotions are. Y'all brothers need to act like you got some damn sense, because they can't stop you.
That's the thing.
They cannot stop. And maybe the epiphany came around because we saw those guys execute for the first time in a long time the pick and roll option. And I'm going to say it. I always say there's no surprise. Jalen Brunson's the most clutch player in the NBA, in my opinion. And Karl-Anthony Towns, we've said it. You said it. That's Jokic light when he is elite. And his passing was on point. His offense was on point. And when he's ready, he's a hell of a defender when he wants to do that. you need to figure that crap out, because if you get both of those guys engaged, then you may be in the finals. You have a greater shot of being in the finals if they're working together. And I'm thinking that those dudes may have finally figured it out, although down the stretch, and hopefully it's not too late. But we did see it work pretty decent in the last couple of games. Maybe we're seeing them realize that if we execute this, we some bad mofos. You can't stop us if we do this. So,
I do. I think Brunson also might be finally accepting that sometimes he doesn't have to take all the shots. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like he's starting to accept that, okay, like I can be a playmaker and I can get other guys involved. And I've always said, and we've talked about this in the past, I feel like he should focus on doing those kinds of things until like the fourth, when they need him to score, or when it's time for him to close. Then he should be like, okay, I'll look for my offense now. And to your point, maybe they're working on that in practice, and we're starting to finally see it in games where, okay, Towns is like, when I'm here, when you cut there, I'll find you. Maybe they're just working on little things like that. Because we've talked about his passing in the past. He's a very good passer. He's an underrated passer. And when you're moving off the ball, he'll find you. And he's a willing passer. He's not one of those guys who's always looking to score. He's one of those guys who's usually looking to make the right play. So I feel like if Brunson is kind of to the point now, like, yeah, okay, I get it. Sometimes I'm going to need to, I need to defer. I need to pass a little bit more to Carl, or pass to Carl to get it back. Like, I know I'll get the ball back. Yeah. He's looking for me too. Like, I feel like we're starting to see little drips and drabs of that in the games. And it's beautiful to see, because CP, the guy who runs, what's it called?
Knicks Fan TV.
Yeah, Knicks Fan TV. He always says, and if you follow him on X, he's always like, no cat, no rings. And I agree. Like, if they don't get, right?
Nothing without calling it down.
Right. This is the decision they made. This is the guy they chose to go with. So you have to make this work. And they look now like they're starting to click a little bit, and they're starting to figure it out. And if it continues to grow as we go into the playoffs, to your point, it's going to be very hard for a defense to be like, okay, who should I guard, or who do I need to focus on? Because when you have two guys who are clicking like that, very, very hard to stop. They're very, very hard to stop. So I've enjoyed watching this the last few games, I have to say. I did think against Atlanta, Brunson was shooting a little too much early on. And then in the third quarter, like Towns, that's when he had his big scoring quarter. He kind of carried them in the third. And then in the fourth, like I said, Brunson came in and he took over and he had a great fourth. If they can do things like that, to your point, we could win a championship. We could win the East and win an NBA championship, because as much as I think the teams in the West are better overall, to your point, I don't think like those guys have the great second star. Yes, I like Chet Holmgren a lot. I think he's a fantastic player. But I don't think he's as skilled offensively as like a Towns. So, right. So, there's certain players, obviously we brought up Jokic and Murray. Jamal Murray, when he's on and when he's playing like he's, his all-star level self, yes, those two are very, very tough to stop. I feel like since the knee injuries, he's not that player all the time anymore, and it makes it tougher. I still don't know what to make of the Spurs. I mean, Wemby's great, obviously. They have a lot of good players. Yeah. But we've played well against them this year.
Yeah.
So
they don't concern me. They don't concern me. Their talent, I mean, I like watching them. They're very talented.
Me too. Yeah.
Someone was blessed to get all that talent there, because they've come quickly for whatever position they're in now. So I just think that the Knicks, I don't think we're being homers. I think it's more so most of us are a little bit concerned because we know where the potential is of this team. Yes. And we just want to see it maximized on a level that we know that if it is maximized, we'll take our chances against anybody in any series, because it's that good. Not saying it's going to be a cakewalk, but
no,
you have two legitimate all-stars on the Knicks. And I I'm not poo-pooing like Brown and Tatum. I'm just saying you do have two legitimate guys that are capable of carrying teams on their own if the
Yes.
teams were built around them. So that's a luxury that I don't think, and like I said, I'm just thinking out loud on the fly here. I don't think there's too many tandems in the entire NBA. Like you would think Shagun and what's his name and KD would be, but he's still not that. He's still not Karl Anthony Towns. Like if your second best player is Karl Anthony Towns, well, we just saying in theory. I think Karl is the better talent on the the Knicks period. But we're saying he plays more like the second player. That's my whole thing. He's wired to be complimentary, and they don't have really much an ego about it. There's not two guys. No, there's no team with those two guys on their team. Not two legitimate stars you can build your franchise around. Like if you were to draft either one of those guys, both those guys can build a franchise around because they're that talented. I don't think that nobody else in the league. You're not taking Jalen Duren and building a team around him. You're just not. You're not. I don't care how great he is. You're not. No team has it. Miami doesn't have it. You wouldn't really technically build around Bam Adebayo. I don't care if he got 89 points. You just wouldn't. He's a complimentary player. He's like second or third player at the best.
He's an all-star level player.
Just not to me a superstar level.
No.
Brunson and Towns are both superstar level players.
They are.
They're elite.
They are. I mean, they are elite players. Two of the best at their positions. You can make that argument. Yeah. Some days you can say they're the best at their position. And maybe be like, oh no, Jokic, yeah, and maybe I would say Jokic is always going to be the best at center. Mm-hmm. But when they've played each other in the past, Karl's gotten the better of them many times.
And the Knicks have broken up from Denver. So I mean,
the Knicks. Yes, the Knicks.
So it's like, so it's not like, in all praises. I think Jokic. They look at the MVP all the time, and I'm like, let's just be real about it.
I agree.
When you look at Jokic's numbers, let me tell you one thing. People don't love basketball probably as much as we might love it. I'm talking about the whole aspect of basketball. Like if you look at Jokic's numbers and you're going, nah, he don't deserve MVP. The hell he don't. How can you look at those numbers and say he doesn't deserve it? He deserved it every year. Since he's elevated to that status, and now the dude is averaging the most ridiculous triple-double.
He is he's a center who leads the league in assists.
Ridiculous player.
That alone, to me, should give him like a 2 or 3 point voting advantage over everyone else, just from the beginning.
How can it not? You can look at Wembanyama's having a fantastic year.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Was having a fantastic year. And you look at that, and we're saying because they're in first place. That's what we're saying. They're at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
It's because their team success looks better. But then look at Jokic's number. That's what I'm going to say. Look at Jokic's number. What are they, third, fourth in the West? Look at his numbers and tell me how you sell that guy to go have a seat. I don't know how you do it. I really don't know how you do it. How are you going to tell him? I would never want to be a writer voting on this because they sometimes go by the popularity. But when you look at, if you're looking from a basketball standpoint, and I know we've seen Russie put up a triple-double. He averaged a couple of years back-to-back. We saw that. That Jokic thing is still the most ridiculous. Right now, it's ridiculous. Just check it out.
He leads the league in assists and rebounds, and he's 7th in scoring.
Ridiculous. You won't see.
Yeah. Shea's fantastic. Yes, great player. They're a great team. He should be in the discussion. Wembanyama, like you said, should be in the discussion. Even Doncic leads the league in scoring. You want to put him in the discussion for that? Totally get it. Understand it completely. But Jokic, center, leads in assists, leads in rebounds, top 10 in scoring. If you removed him from Denver, they're a lottery team.
Beyond.
Yes, they are as much. And I like Jamal Murray. I do. Fantastic player.
Yeah,
Very, very good player.
I
But
like
without
Gordon.
him,
Man, they ain't jack.
yeah, they're a lottery team.
You know,
So
he suffers from Michael Jordan syndrome
he
because
does.
every year Michael should have probably won MVP, and Jokic is in that same category every
I
year.
think Shaq too. Like I thought Shaq should have won it a couple more times.
Yeah, they're deserving of it every year. It's
Yeah.
just obviously writers fatigue or voting fatigue. They just don't. They're gonna buy the narrative that's put forth. But yeah, but when you listen to and we talk about Karl Towns, getting back to him, when we put him in that category, because he's a light. When I say light, I mean it's slightly light. You know, it's almost he's Coke Zero to me because I always say Coke Zero is like the best diet soda because it tastes so close to the regular soda.
Me too.
So,
I love Coke Zero. But yes, I agree.
so if you have a regular Coke, that's Jokic, and Carlin Downs is Coke Zero. Hey, you'll drink either one of them because
It's true. The only thing he does, like, he just doesn't. I mean, he can't bring the ball up. When I watch Jokic bring the ball up court, I just laugh. I'm like, this guy is this big 7-footer, and you would think like guys would steal the ball from him more. It doesn't happen. Like, he's such a tremendous player. He is. I say it all the time. Every time I say who's the best player in the league, I'm like, it's Jokic. He might not win the MVP. But he is the best player in the league. Like I don't
care about that fancy crap that I see because that's what's wrong with the NBA and the fan base and the YouTubers. They want fancy crap. I'm talking about who's the best basketball player. Who once he steps on the floor does things that's out of character, out of normal, and then he's dominating. And he's dominating all facets of basketball. I mean, you might want to say he's not the defender of a Wembanyama. That doesn't mean he can't defend. What else is he not doing? The shot that dude does while being flat-footed, because he has no lift in those shots that he is getting off on dudes. It's all in here. He has the high IQ. That's him and Brunson remind me so much of each other as players. Both being second rounders. Second, not being athletic at all. They're not even athletic dudes at all. And you watch them and how they operate. They just manipulate the game in such a way.
Tremendous footwork. Both of them have tremendous footwork.
And if kids want to watch something, I always tell my little nephew the same thing. It's about those feet. If you have impeccable footwork, you can play in that league for a very long time. You're going to dominate. So when these guys are just worrying about jumping over cars and who can dunk, work on your damn feet. Because your feet is going to get you paid, and your feet probably going to win you a title. Because I've not seen any person win without great feet. So it's just what it is.
If you don't have that elite athleticism, you have to be an offensive player in the NBA. You have to have that footwork. You have to. You do. It's just like even Shea. Like Shea has good footwork.
That's what it is with him. Because I don't think if he didn't have the footwork, I don't think he'd be anything. I mean, other than a regular player. Yep. But it's the footwork. I just looked at our very own Jalen Brunson, and there's two shots this year. I'm like, well, damn, I don't know how the hell he got them off. The one was against KD that I'm like, KD's all over you. I don't know how you got that shot off. And even watching after we knew his ankle was bad, the CJ McCollum shot, which I know you didn't like, and it wasn't a good shot. I still don't know how he got it off.
Me neither. It was a yes.
And it's still looking at that because he rolled his ankle, and I'm like, you're like dead in the water. I'm like, CJ's got to be able to block that. And it's like, it's that one little move that he gets that advantage because of how great his feet work is. Greatest feet work is, and he gets that shot off. So kids, work on your feet.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take shots. I take shots at Brunson all the time if I feel he's deserves it. But I've said this many times. It's amazing to me how he could be having an awful game, and the fourth quarter comes, crunch time comes, and all of a sudden he cannot miss. It is an uncanny ability. But again, it's like he says, he just trusts his preparation, his work, and that's what it is. He's got to stick to what he knows because he's not an elite athlete, to your point. He doesn't have those physical skills and abilities that guys are just born with. He's worked to make himself the place he is in the league. He had to work to get here. And he really is a phenomenal player. I'm so glad he's on our team. Like, I'll take shots at him. People are like, you hate him. I'm like, no, I just don't feel anyone is beyond reproach. Like, if you do something bad, I'm gonna say, that was bad. Like, you should have, but don't get it twisted. I am so happy he's on this team and we have a guy like him because it's been a while. So, all right. So let's look ahead real quick and then we will close this one down. So who for you is the ideal first round matchup for the Knicks going into the playoffs?
Toronto. I mean, I'm not trying to put him. I mean, let's go to the second round because if we get Toronto, I mean, barring something absolutely absurd, the Knicks have just owned them. They seem to want to be owned. And I'm not trying to be funny. It's just I was always thinking when R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel quickly landed in Toronto, I'm thinking this is going to be a revenge tour every time we see them. That was my belief. I'm like, they're going to come out and have something to prove. And shout out to R.J. Barrett. I'm an R.J. fan. I didn't want to see him go. Clearly, I like R.J. Batman Barrett. Respect always. I'm not the biggest Quickly fan, you would say, but anyway,
right.
Still, they're Knicks. They're always going to be Knicks to me, but I'm figuring, they're going to Toronto and they're going to have vengeance on their mind every time we see them. They're going to look to kill. They just never. I thought it was going to be like a rivalry, and it just never happened. Like you kind of feel like when when Obi comes to the Garden or plays the Knicks, he wants to kill us.
Yeah,
he always wants to kill. It's like the Knicks, Barrett and Quickly, like they played for Westchester. Like, we still part of the team, and they never give you the business. Even Brandon Ingram, as talented he is, he always goes 2 quarters deep, and after that,
it's true.
He falls off. I thought, I was a Brandon Ingram fan. I'm like, I thought he was a special talent. He is talented, but it's just
very talented. Yes,
he's not the killer I thought he was. So Toronto, I mean, granted, Philly has never been. I mean, we would think they're going to be the competition for the Knicks, and the Knicks seem to always take that as a home and home. But Toronto. If I had to pull one so the Knicks can kind of get sharper for the second round by beating up on a team a little bit, I'd like Toronto.
Yeah, I agree. On the surface, I would say Toronto. Like for the same reasons you brought up, like they've just played them really. They've kind of had their number, and they played them well this year. And if I want an easy first round, and I'm not saying they can't lose, of course, you can lose to anybody, but so for what we've seen, just going off what we've seen this season, they would be the first, and then Philly would be second. I want no part of the Hawks. I want no part of Orlando. I want no part of Charlotte. I want no part of those teams. Not that, again, I feel like they would definitely lose, but they're kind of like how I felt last year with Detroit. Going in, those teams can beat the Knicks. They have, for whatever reason, their mix of players are good or are put together to kind of be the antithesis of what the Knicks are good at. So I feel like the matchup just isn't the greatest. So Toronto would be who I'm looking at, and then Philly would probably be next. Those are the 2 teams that I would want to play in the first round. And it looks like that's probably going to be the case. But it's wild to me that there's 3 games left and there's still so much uncertainty and what could happen.
Either all the teams are almost tied. That's from that 7, 6, 7, 8 category. I think it's 1 game at the most or half a game. It's kind of insane.
From 5 through 9, I guess it's 2.5 games apart.
That's crazy.
That's it. So there could be a ton of change there depending on what happens this weekend. It's one of the fun things about the NBA season and even the NHL season, if you're into hockey, how the as you get closer to the playoffs, if everything is bunched up, how it breaks out. Every game means something. So you're kind of watching, you're like, okay, what's going on? But yes, the Knicks, for me, they need to. I want the 3rd seed. I don't want to drop 4 to 4. Let's stay in 3. And take our chances there. Cleveland is behind, like I said, 1 game behind us. I don't know what their schedule is like down the stretch. The Knicks have a tough, last few games.
Yeah, Boston and they got Charlotte also. Charlotte? Am I right? Two teams.
So, and
Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto is the only one that we would look at and say, oh, based on the season, they should win that game. But they're all playoff teams, right?
We also know what I stated earlier. Like the Knicks, if the full Knicks team shows up with an attitude, the Knicks are going to win. They could win out those 3 games.
Of course they can, 100%.
But if we get is it game time yet? We get those Knicks. which look, I'm just thinking there's one of those games that we're going to see that version of the Knicks. Mike Brown made a statement that if you believe you're that team, you don't care where you fall in the seedings. So
it's true.
I'm thinking that might be the philosophy of that team. Maybe us as fans want it more, worried about the seedings, which, I mean, granted, we're Knicks fans. Of course we're worried about every damn thing. I mean, why would you not be worried? But maybe this team doesn't care about that as much as we do, which it is fine. It's fine if you don't care, but your ass better win. That's all I can tell you. Because
I think they
bad matchup and you show up lame duck, then there's going to be some soul singing and flower bringing in the off season. I'm just going to tell you, it's not going to be cute.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do a more extended playoff show after this week or next week. We're here. We'll do another playoff. We'll do a playoff show, but I'm worried about past the first round. I'll say that I am worried about past the first round, but we'll see. We'll see how things go.
I think it's legit. I think it's legit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even worried a little about the first round, but like I said, if they wind up playing the Raptors, I feel a little better. Or Philly, I feel a little better. So we'll see how that goes. But it's going to be interesting. Again, 3 games left. We have, like I said, you named the 3 teams. We have Boston, Toronto, and then Charlotte. We owe Charlotte one from the last game. So I hope they come, if there's something to play for, I hope they come ready to play that game. Cleveland plays Atlanta twice in a home and home, and then Washington. So they're going to win that one more than likely.
Yeah, they're going to sit the Washington fans are going to play in that game because I'm sure the players not playing.
Yeah, so I mean, they're right on our tails too. So if the Knicks stumble, they might drop. I don't know who has the tiebreaker between the teams.
I think that's a good question.
The Knicks won the opening game of the season. They won.
Knicks might have the edge, I think. I could be wrong though. I think the Knicks.
Yeah, they're 2-1, so they do head to head. Yeah, so they have the edge. So they end up tied. The Knicks win the tiebreaker, but
the Knicks might be banking on that because I think that Atlanta back-to-back Atlanta is going to be tough for anybody facing that team right now because they're
still playing for things. Yes.
So. Yeah, they're still playing and they're missing. That team is good. I don't know if I'm worried about them as much, but they are. I mean, granted, against us, once again, what do you say? They match up with things that we don't do great. So, and I think Cleveland's probably due to choke something out because James Harden's on that team. I'd be shocked. Him and Donovan Mitchell both are 2 of those dudes that they disappear. I don't know. I've never understood. Well, James Harden is just completely hocus pocus.
He's
looks like the most.
He's an interesting guy. For the most part. So yeah. He's outside of basketball. Like he's an interesting dude. So
yeah. Should be good. The Knicks better. They need to at least win 2 out of the next 3. Then I think they're secure and safe. So we'll see.
Yes. You can still hear me. I see I'm a little frozen.
Yeah. You're freezing a little bit, but we're gonna wrap up. So.
Yes, we're gonna shut this one down, everybody. So thanks for watching. Once again, we will most likely be back next week. The following week, I am actually going to France. I will not be here.
Victor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time going to Paris, so I'm looking forward to that trip. But next week, probably we will be here again, do a little bit of a playoff primer. We'll know exactly where they're playing, who they're playing at that point. We'll have a little bit more insight on matchups and things to look out for and things of that nature. But as always, I want to thank everyone for tuning in, watching us. We would not continue to do this if you did not watch us. So thank you again. And for Ty, I'm Eric. You're watching All Knicked Up. We'll see you next time.